welcome to another Mr. Vitabyte video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as we'll be repairing, hopefully, a Sony SLF1 and also the component tuner cum input-output unit, the TTF1. And yeah, let's crack on. Before we do anything else, I'm going to change those two mains capacitors. I say mains capacitors are actually just two electrolytics on the primary side of the switch mode power supply. They commonly do start to leak, and when they leak, once the leakage shorts across the pins, it's goodbye transistors. So, as a matter of course, now I do actually change these. So it's fairly simple to do, and I have done it in a previous video actually, where I've resurrected one of these TTF1 units, and no doubt I will get this wrong again, because I always do. It does look as if it's been out before, so possibly it might have good caps in there, but even so, I will change them. It's just worth it, because the transistors, if they do go pop, are quite expensive. So, and then you've got to take these two out. Take the connectors off. Black one there, and then there's red one. Black one. I just got quartz. Then this is the bit I always forget, which way round you do this. So that's that, and then you've got to take these out on this side so you can then slide out the power supply. Now behind here, there is usually some heatsink compound. So this can actually be quite stiff to pull out, and it's a little bit of prying on each side, just enough just to get it sort of going in the rails. There's actually rails in the plastic assembly underneath there. Then this can be quite fun as well to get off. So what I usually do is pry this, because this is glued. There's a layer of glue. It's actually to insulate the main side of it, and I just tend to get this off like over the edge, and then it comes off fairly easily once you've got this free. Let's start from this end if we can. I'm just prying off the sealant. So I do it from that end because this end is sealed. Although of course you can do it from this end as well, but there we go. Yeah, so the two caps we're worried about are these two, here and here. So let's whip those out and see what they're like. So I've just checked there's no voltage across, and there shouldn't be, because this has not been on at all. Need a little bit of extra solder. Yeah, I think that's leaked. I don't know if I've ever powered this up. I think I might have briefly just to test it, but I don't know. I'll probably contradict myself because I may well, because it's a few weeks since I started this video. I may well have powered it up at the beginning of the video, and I've forgotten because I've done quite a lot of different things since. Solder does not want to run. So the offending caps, 4.7 microfarad, 350 volts. That was the one that was bubbling and really refusing to desolder. You see, it's really gone very, very bad, and was well and truly on the way to causing mischief. And this one, you can see, it's leaked. It's actually not too bad, but obviously that's on the way out as well. So yeah, not ideal. So I suppose we better see if I've got some replacements. And look, and I do actually indeed have some 4.7 microfarad rated at 400 volts, which is just that little bit better. And these are 85 degrees, these are 105 degrees Chemet from Farnell. So yes, so I need to put those in. And what I do need to do is show them a little bit of respect and just stagger the leads, because these are considerably smaller, physically smaller. So without straining their lead ends, I'm going to widen the layouts. I have a lot of respect for high voltage capacitors, and in particular not stressing them more than they need to be, bless them. So actually we'll give them a check as well. Yeah, it's a bit on the low side, but it's okay. See what the other one measures. Yeah, about the same, so yeah, that's cool. I'm relatively happy with that. So let's pop them in. Observing polarity. In fact, what I'm going to do is I can see there's a bit of contamination there, so I'm just going to clean that off. A bit of isopropyl and a cotton bud. So just put in the caps, and positive is facing the main transistors, power transistors. I'm right in saying that, yeah, plus plus. So I'd be surprised we'll get a little pop because of the isopropyl. Rapidly evaporates. I love it when it does that. There we go. They're in right. Happy with that. So time to put it back together. The silicone grease is actually really good on this, so I'm not going to bother re-greasing it. Doesn't really need it. So I'll just clip that back on. Don't worry about glue or anything like that. And that looks fairly okay in there. So that goes that way. And I said this is on rails, but of course it isn't. It's the plastic that's on rails, but it does tend to stick a bit in the actual cage. So with years of just being sat in the same position, it's going to feel a little bit reluctant to come out. A bit of clean up. A whole lot of bit of clean up. Long screws. They are actually the screws that go in the end are the short ones, and I always forget. I always end up putting the longer ones in and then taking them back out because I've realised they're wrong. So it's the shorter ones. Like so. I don't think it would matter if you use the longer ones, but they obviously put the shorter ones there for a reason, so you're probably getting a bit close to something that probably is not a good idea to short to ground. So yeah, and we've got this side, so turn that round. So you've got the fixing lugs there. So obviously that's the way it goes in to keep it all together. So black one at the back. Then black one here. The red one that goes on this panel here. And then get the power supply the right way round. So the heatsink goes on, as you look at the front of it, on the left hand side. It's on. These two. This bit here. So 2 down low. Super. So that's all good. So next thing is to give it a test. Before we go any further, let's check what the fuse is. Place your bets now. 13 amp, yay! So what I do is I'm going to change this plug, put a modern one on, and with a proper fuse, and we'll give it a go. Right, so let's give it a try. I've got it on about 100 volts, so yeah, that's looking alright. I don't think it'll come on because there's not enough juice. Before I go any further, I thought I'd test it with the SLF1 UB external power supply, and it's working fine. So we obviously have a problem with the TTF1, so let's dig in and have a look. So first stage, just seeing if there's any voltage on or coming into the IC201 on the TT7 board, and as you can see it's 8.6 something volts, and pressing the power button it drops. So that's what I would expect. And for a second there I thought I heard a relay click, but no, that was in my dreams. So that's working. Interestingly, if I press the power button on the remote, nothing happens. Now I sort of expect that because this pin here is literally just the power button. It's nothing to do with the remote control side of it, I think. So yeah, obviously a bit more going on. My gut feeling is it is a power supply issue, but which would be really a little bit infuriating as I've already taken it apart. But yeah, I'll do some more testing. So testing through, basically the switch circuit is working fine, and I can actually see the voltage drop when the button's pressed at the chip here. And let's have a look. So I am now suspecting possibly this transistor here, although it checks all right on the meter. I need to measure the voltages there. Possibly the main logic, but yeah, there's a Zener diode as well, which is this one here, but again that checks okay, but obviously I've not checked it with the machine on. Now the reason I haven't done that is because as you can see I've had to remove boards to sort of get to its test. Basically I was working my way down back from this board, from the front panel. So what I need to do now is put these panels back on, put the front back on, and then basically turn it over and take this board out so I can test it from underneath. So I'll do that now. The other thing that's actually really amazing as well, these batteries are still perfect. They're holding charge and charging well, so that's a bit of a first. Sort of debating whether to take them out, but yeah, I think I'm going to leave them, to be honest. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, really impressed. So yeah, I'll get it back together and we'll do some more checks. Okay, so all back together, and what I'm going to do now is just test what voltage we're getting on Q214, which is this transistor here. And basically I'm looking for about 4 volts. It should actually be about 4.7 volts on this pad here. They actually give a test pad for that voltage. Now this voltage, this transistor here is basically sending voltage to the black connector, which is here, PR, and that goes to the power supply to tell the power supply to come out of standby. Put on, well, basically switch on the switched power supplies, so the switch 12 volts, whatever. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what I do get here. This actually comes off the main control chip. So IC201, I am actually getting no control voltage from this. So maybe, but yeah, I'm keeping the faith and basically hoping it's going to be a transistor issue rather than a chip, because if we start getting into chips, then it's going to get interesting. I do wonder if either of these are shared with the C9. I'm probably going to guess they're not, but anyway, we'll see. Let's do some testing and just see what we find. So not the best camera angle, but it's enough. And so put it on. Do it without. Yeah, so we've got the clock on. So nothing. Let's just measure what's on there. I'm not getting anything at all. Interestingly, I can activate the charge light, but there is nothing at all. So let's work backwards and just see exactly what is going on. Put this all back together. I just thought, yeah, what's the point? So of going on with this any further, really, and I just thought, well, I'll keep it for spares or whatever. And in the back of my head, I really did think, I'm sure I've got another unit that I scrapped, and I think I had a completely blown power supply, and I had actually used a few other spares off it, but I didn't think I'd use that board. And looking around earlier, I found a replacement board. It's quite dusty, so I'll clean that off. But yeah, I'll change this and we'll see if that does the trick. Okay, so I probably didn't need to take the top off, but I did. Just in case it does foul anything. I didn't put all the screws back in this because I just thought, well, what's the point? And I think we've got a few fun ones as well, possibly. Which means you do have to take the top off. Take this board back off as well, so we can get in to. I think this red one actually is the one I need to unplug, because that goes down to the bottom board. Oh, Mr. Screw. Mr. Screw. request another connector. There we go. And then that goes to the front. So of course we've got to take the front off. Oh dear. And that's that one. I suppose it was a bit naive of me to think that they wouldn't go to the front panel, because all of it's linked, you know, with the switches and display and everything else. And then we've got one more, which is that one. And of course, there's no adjustment either on this board. Sort of interesting, the differences in boards. I mean, obviously the PCB is a different colour, but it's also got some glue on that capacitor, so I wonder if they did have problems with it potentially touching somewhere it shouldn't. I don't know. And I'm probably doing a bad thing insofar as I should really have an anti-static mat. But hey ho. I have got this far. I've got that one there, which doesn't need to be there. Red. Gosh, you're gonna love my camera work. Bent pin there slightly. Don't want to make things any worse than they already are. Which I'm doing really badly. This screw here is a pain. Came out fine, but it's stopping it from going back in. Slightly odd. Anyway. Let's just clip down. See, there's a cable gone astray. Right, so let's give it a go, I suppose. What's the worst that can happen? Actually, oh, it's not on. Yay! Okay, so all back together, and to go. And seems to tell you on the right input. Luxurious and use the remote. So yeah, that's pretty good. I don't actually know if I did test this. Now it does need, the deck needs a service, but of course this is 2-head as well, so the stills are never going to be great. So there we go. So here's audio, it's a quiet section of the of it. So that wasn't what it could do with a good clean. So I suppose the next thing is to give it a bit of a service, and yeah, I don't think that tape's actually that wonderful either, so I need to work on that. But I need to work on that. So I need to use a better tape. I don't need to do anything to this tape, so maybe put it in the bin, but always spool it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and take the F1 apart and just see what it's like, really. And just to answer the question, is the chip the same in the C9 as in the F1? Yes and no is the answer. They're the same chip, so an MB88401, as you can see, MB88401, but the firmware is different. So 121 on the F1, 123 on the C9, and these are actually 4-bit microcontrollers. So yeah, there's a lot going on there actually. Some static RAM, some volatile RAM in there, something like 4K I think it is, clock, all sorts. It's a full package, so yeah, won't be interchangeable. It'd be quite fun to try, but yeah, there we go, just for the information there. So let's take this apart, and it's fairly easy. It's a couple of screws on the back, and I have left the top cover open. You don't need to. You can remove the cabinet without taking this off, but I'm going to be giving it a thorough clean, so I decided to leave it open. Just slide it back, lift it off. It's sort of a bit caught here somehow. It's fairly dusty, but not too bad, which is good. 2 screws at the back. Pretty sure you don't have to take these out. Yeah, I'm going to take these off. I don't think you have to take these out, but I'm not getting anywhere fast, so maybe you do. And I've just forgotten, because that's what I do. I think even if you don't need to remove it, it does make it easier to actually take this off, because it sort of clips in. Top cover sort of clips into the bottom. It still feels like there's something just catching here. There we go. I've slide it back a little bit to sort of unlock it, and then let's just move the camera. See here, there's a connector here. This is for the battery compartment. So yeah, just slide it back a bit and it frees, but oh my gosh, blimey, that was hard work. I'll see if I can remember that for next time. So, looking at it, it's actually really very, very good. I will change the belt, although the belt looks good. And bearings are perfect on pinch roller. It's also good. It's got the earlier type upper drum, you can tell that because it's got the brass coloured top section rather than just using the Allen bolt to fix it. It's also got screws. Later ones don't have this. That's fine. It's actually seen, I mean, it's actually in very, very good condition. Very good condition. Yeah, so just give it a bit of a dust off and a clean, and I think we should be good. So there is a lot of dust that sort of got in through the top. This was actually from a professional setting, a business. It's not an eBay machine. And so I don't think it's seen a lot of use, but the use it has had is looks to have been fairly heavy, or heavy-handed then. I don't know whether this would have been used maybe PCM, maybe, I don't know. Put a little bit of grease on the rail. Use a screwdriver for that. And some on this rail. New belt. Starting to run quite low on these now. Yeah, you can see that belt it's fine, but it's misshapen, and it's a good sign that it's on the way out, so putting a new one on is a good thing. So there it is. It really is so tidy. I don't know if I can actually lock that down. No, I can't. It needs to be on to lock down. But like I said, I've not cleaned this yet, and you can see just how good the drum is, and just how tidy the whole deck is. Might be fun is just to give it a hand wind, so you can see everything loading. So this is the leaf switch for unlace. You see that gets pressed in. You see the pop-up guides popping out now down here. You see it loading round. Meanwhile, the pinch roller assembly is coming up here. And that's it, that's locked. And you'll see at the back here, there's another leaf switch. So when that gets released, that's full lock. You see at the top there, unlacing. You see the pop-up guides there sliding back, getting pushed down at the bottom there. Both leaf switches are pressed. And then as we come back, that's it. And I actually went that a bit too far. So you see that bottom leaf switch there. go too far, it gets actuated again. So that's unlaced, and then that's starting to lace again. Senses when it's moving. So there you go. Just winding it by hand. It's very similar to the 711B decks, like C30, 20, 40, 80 decks. It's got the solenoid for the actuation of the pushing the pinch roller up against the capstan, but it hasn't got the gear. Obviously, there's no front loading system anyway, but it's more in common with the C9. So it's belt driven, only belt on the whole deck, that sort of just loads, laces the tape. So yes, I'm going to give it a quick clean. It's not going to need much, just double check the capstan is clean as well. And yeah, we'll put it back together and give it a test. So there we have it, it's all nice and clean. Cleaned the tape paths. It's actually pretty grubby. One of these, that was the pinch roller. No, that was the pinch roller. That was the capstan. And a little bit of the tape path. And then this, which one? This was the audio head. Can't really see much on that at all. A little bit. Audio control arrays head, and this arrays, full arrays head here, and this guide, and that one I think is just the upper drum and the lower drum, obviously making sure not to hit the heads. The heads themselves are good. I'm not probably going to bother with those, or am I? I shouldn't I? Yeah, let's give them a clean. Okay, so I am going to clean the heads. Use the paper method. See, I've cut the paper. Don't tear it, because if you tear it and you don't fold it over or fold it out of the way, there's risk of getting the fibres onto the head and onto the head chip, and that is something you don't want to do. So in my infinite wisdom of leaving the top loading system open, it's actually made it a bit more difficult. There's a slight amount of pressure, slowly turn the heads. Should just be able to feel the trips go past. Let's see how bad they are. Yeah, and they are clean. It's pretty much what I thought, to be honest. It is a very clean machine, so yeah, that's great. So let's take off that excess, making sure the chips aren't where I'm going, because you never want to go up and down with anything to clean the heads, because it's the quickest way to break the chips, and that's bad. So I suppose we better get this back together and give it a test. So just giving the underneath of the case a bit of a clean. The one problem I do have is the battery door has come adrift, and it should just be a matter of pressing this back in, hopefully. Yeah, it's still not gone in. If I can just get it, that last little bit. Yeah, it's still not quite right. I really want to scratch it more than I have to. That's it. That's gone in. So I've had to put quite a bit of pressure on that. It still doesn't look... Oh no, that's fine. It's just not, because obviously I've bent it slightly, but that's fine as long as it works. I think the chances of batteries being used in this are pretty remote. But yeah, you can see that's not bad. It's just slightly slightly funny, but that's fine. I'm happy with that. So give it a clean, put it on, give it a test. Just before I put the base panel back on, I'll just point out these ribbons here and here. And these can cause quite a few problems. They do have a habit of actually breaking or cracking up. Now I have to say, I've only ever seen one machine with this being slightly damaged, and it was just literally a small crack, possibly from sort of rough diagnostics servicing in the past. But obviously you can't get these anymore. Yeah, if they go, it's a bit of a pain, because in theory, the only way around it really is to actually cable them, solder cables, which is not ideal. It's a bit of a bind. But yeah, just sort of point those out, because you know, they are mentioned a fair bit as a weak point on these, but like I say, I've only ever seen one slightly damaged, and yeah, so you can see I've put the connector back on, and I will say, having taken the bottom cover off, I probably would recommend removing that before you take the top off. Oh gosh, it does make life a bit easier, and you can see, well, you can see, maybe you can see metal clip there that just sort of managed to shoot itself alongside of the top cover. I think it's those that just make it just that little bit more difficult, especially if the set hasn't been open for a while, and if it's had stuff stacked on top of it. It just seems to sort of squash it, and just cause it not to perform very well when you try and slide the top case back that little bit to get it to open. But I haven't actually cleaned the bottom of this yet. Some interesting stuff going on there. It looks like it's had some sort of cleaner on it before, and it's made it go a bit sort of weird. It's made the plastics go funny. So, screw at the back, and another screw at the back. So it's just so. Let's turn that over. Front suit looking pretty nice. Let's get that so it's properly located. So tabs are here, here. Which don't seem to want to go with. There we go. I think that's done it. Super. And I just want to give these screws a bit of a polish up, so I'll do that next. Put the screws in and we'll give it a try. So there we have it, working well. See the counter there, and can you just about see the backlight? It's just so pathetic on these, but yes, that's great. And this actually has the swing search as well. Not all of them had swing search, or it called swing search. So that's an interesting one as well. I think this makes this an earlier deck, I think. Might be wrong. So underneath there as well. And actually on the camera I'm picking up, there's still some dust there, but when I look at it with straight at it, it looks fine. But anyway, it'll be given another clean anyway. It's now going to be tested. So yeah, and then a final check. So, quality-wise, this is not the best recording. I actually made this on HF950. It's a very dark scene, so of course you can see everything reflected in the room. It's not ideal, but the sound is not wonderful because HF950s never really... I tend to find they don't record linear sound particularly well, but yeah, it's there, it's good. It's about what I expect. I expect it maybe to be a little bit clearer, but that's fine. So there we have it. So I mean, obviously we have got the problem with the buttons, but I'm not going to change those. It's just not worth it, and you can use the remote if you're going to use the tuning, and why would you? You can use the remote. So yes, I'm going to check the clock. Yeah, it's all fine, isn't it? That isn't the time. So 9 PCM camera, super. So there we have it, all up and running. That's a bit of a battle, bit of an odd one, and I was really pleased I managed to find that board. If I do manage to find that chip on my travels, I may well revisit doing this just to see if it was that microprocessor, but is it worth doing, you know? So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and see you in another video. Bye for now.